By all accounts, the planned journey back to the United Kingdom had been arranged with meticulous care. The itinerary was set, the symbolic visits prepared, and the prospect of a long-awaited family reunion drew close. What the public did not know, what very few people knew, was that the entire trip would collapse over a dispute regarding taxpayer-funded police protection. The decision by Prince Harry to thoroughly re-evaluate his highly anticipated return to the United Kingdom next month has sent monumental shockwaves through the royal household. According to reports, this development has triggered an intense national debate regarding the complex nature of state security, public funding, and the prospects of familial reconciliation. The Duke of Sussex had been planning a momentous journey back to his homeland, accompanied by his wife Meghan Markle and their 2 young children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. These detailed arrangements have now been thrown into complete disarray following the absolute refusal of his official request for taxpayer-funded police protection. Former royal gardener to King Charles Jack Stokes has recently shared deep insights regarding the intense emotional undercurrents surrounding this development. According to Stokes, the prince was operating under a firm understanding that comprehensive security measures would be established for this specific visit to guarantee the safety of his immediate family. This sudden legal and administrative barrier represents a devastating blow to what was intended to be a deeply symbolic and personal journey for the California-based family. The family has spent the last several years largely estranged from the British monarchy following their dramatic departure from working royal duties. According to insider accounts, the primary motivation behind bringing the young children over to British soil at this specific juncture was that they have finally reached an age where they are mature enough to comprehend the journey. It was believed that they could retain lasting memories of, and truly appreciate, a journey across the Atlantic to witness the historical surroundings where their father was born, raised, and spent his formative years. Furthermore, a particularly poignant and heartbreaking element of the provisional itinerary, planned for the 10th and 11th of next month, involved taking the children to visit the final resting place of the late Princess of Wales Diana at Althorpe. This visit was envisioned as a profound opportunity to connect the new generation with their iconic grandmother, whose legacy continues to loom large over the family. The sudden disruption of these meticulously laid plans highlights the incredibly tense and unresolved legal battles between the Duke of Sussex and the Home Office. These legal disputes concern the removal of his automatic right to state-sponsored armed security, which occurred immediately after his decision to step back from official royal duties. While representatives from the royal estate have reportedly extended a significant olive branch by offering highly secure accommodation within a protected royal residence, the fundamental issue remains unresolved. According to sources, these offers included a vacant apartment at Kensington Palace or one of the many currently unoccupied homes on the Windsor estate. Despite these offers, the core problem for Prince Harry remains the lack of official armed police protection during their movements in public spaces. The ongoing dispute is far more than a mere bureaucratic disagreement, as it is deeply entangled with emotional wounds, historical grievances, and the complex pride of everyone involved in this multi-year saga. Many royal commentators argue that Prince Harry faces an exceptionally high level of risk due to his unique status and birthright. According to these analysts, his demands for state protection are entirely reasonable to shield his vulnerable young children from intrusive media attention and potential security threats. Conversely, critics firmly maintain that once an individual deliberately chooses to abandon the structure of working royal life to pursue personal freedom and financial independence in the United States, they cannot expect to retain prestigious privileges. These privileges, critics argue, are strictly reserved for those members of the family who continue to serve the British public day and night. This ideological divide has become increasingly complicated amid observations that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are currently making genuine efforts to do the right thing. It appears the couple is actively seeking ways to smooth things over with the royal family after an extended period of unprecedented hostility. It appears that the couple has gradually become aware of the significant mistakes they made in the past. According to observers, these mistakes were made through the publication of highly controversial memoirs and a series of explosive international television interviews that exposed the innermost secrets of the institution. Those past actions inadvertently erected a massive wall of distrust within the palace walls, making the path toward mutual forgiveness and reconciliation incredibly difficult for King Charles and Prince William to navigate. This apparent realization suggests that beneath the public legal battles, the Sussexes genuinely miss their extended family. They reportedly long to re-establish meaningful connections with their relatives in the United Kingdom after years of self-imposed exile. A successful family visit would have provided a magnificent opportunity for King Charles, who is currently navigating his own serious health challenges, to spend precious time with his grandchildren and witness their growth firsthand. The physical presence of the children would have served as an invaluable token of peace, helping to close a painful chapter of familial discord and initiate a new era of understanding and mutual respect. However, the sudden deadlock over security arrangements has instead cast a dark and negative cloud over these fragile efforts at reconciliation. This stalemate threatens to reverse any progress that had been quietly made behind the scenes. Royal experts warn that if this upcoming trip is completely cancelled, it will mark a profound sadness for the entire family. Alternatively, if Prince Harry is forced to travel entirely alone without his wife and children, it will represent a severe setback for the prospects of a long-term truce. The British public remains deeply divided over the prospect of Prince Harry's returning solitary to his homeland. Many view a solitary return as definitive proof of an irreparable fracture between Meghan Markle and the royal family. Meanwhile, others question whether a prince of the blood can ever truly divest himself of his inherent risks. The debate continues to intensify across media platforms, with supporters pointing out the stark paradox in the state's protective framework. Supporters highlight that while British politicians frequently enter and exit high office through democratic elections, yet receive lifelong state protection funded by the taxpayer, the biological son of the reigning monarch is denied that essential right when returning to his birth country. This comparison places immense pressure on the Executive Committee for the protection of royalty and public figures. The committee must balance rigid legal frameworks against the unprecedented historical realities of the King's immediate family. Regardless of the final outcome, it is entirely evident that the media storms surrounding the House of Sussex show absolutely no signs of abating. Instead, these storms continue to generate powerful waves of public controversy that captivate global audiences. The absolute complexity of the situation is amplified by the fact that Prince Harry has repeatedly expressed deep anxieties regarding the specific nature of the threats his family faces. The Duke has emphasized that his departure from the active royal roster did not diminish his global profile or the inherent dangers associated with his lineage. Legal representatives for the Duke have argued in various court hearings that the decision to strip him of his automatic security profile was short-sighted. They maintain that the decision failed to take into account the unique and permanent risks attached to his persona. On the other hand, the Home Office has steadfastly maintained that the protective resources of the state must be deployed according to rigorous, objective assessments rather than hereditary status alone. This stance has created an intractable standoff that seems impossible to resolve through standard legal channels. This ongoing friction has effectively weaponized the issue of security, transforming it from a practical logistical necessity into a symbolic battleground. The dispute has become a conflict over status, validation, and belonging within the royal hierarchy. For many observers, the refusal to grant official protection is perceived as an institutional reprimand. It is viewed as a tangible consequence of the couple's choice to carve out a separate commercial existence in California. Meanwhile, the psychological toll on the family members involved cannot be understated. King Charles is reportedly caught between his duties as the head of state, bound by the decisions of government committees, and his personal desires as a father. He wishes to see his family unified during a period of profound personal vulnerability. The systemic gridlock also emphasizes the widening cultural and geographic chasm that has developed between the United States-based Sussex household and the traditional operational frameworks of the British palace. Living in California has allowed the couple to establish an independent brand identity, yet this geographical detachment makes managing logistical operations within the United Kingdom increasingly complicated. These operations remain fraught with administrative hurdles that are difficult to overcome. Royal aides and security advisors are forced to operate within strict legal boundaries that leave little room for personal discretion. Consequently, even well-intentioned plans for family gatherings are constantly vulnerable to bureaucratic vetoes. This systemic rigidity creates an environment where every attempt at establishing a closer connection is stymied by protocol. This situation reinforces a sense of isolation for the Duke and his young children, who remain physically and institutionally separated from their paternal lineage. The dream of a harmonious family reunion where generations can share experiences and heal long-standing emotional fractures remains secondary to the cold realities of statutory governance and public expenditure debates. The absence of Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet from significant royal milestones has already created a noticeable void in the family fabric. This latest cancellation threatens to ensure that the children remain entirely detached from their British heritage. They risk growing up as foreign observers to an institution they belong to by blood. As public debate rages across the United Kingdom, the economic aspect of the security argument also draws fierce scrutiny. Taxpayers are questioning whether public funds should ever be allocated to individuals who no longer perform public services, regardless of their tragic history or high-profile status. This fiscal conservatism contrasts sharply with the view that the state has an absolute moral obligation to ensure the safety of the king's immediate offspring. This obligation is seen as particularly vital given the historical context of the tragic loss of Princess Diana under intense scrutiny. The broader implications of this security deadlock extend far beyond the immediate family circle. This conflict is influencing the international perception of the British monarchy as a modern yet tradition-bound institution. Observers from around the globe watch with fascination as the internal mechanics of the royal family are laid bare through these ongoing legal and logistical challenges. These challenges reveal a system struggling to balance ancient hereditary obligations with contemporary administrative accountability. The role of individuals like Jack Stooks, who provide a bridge between the inner workings of the palace and the public understanding, underscores the deep-seated affection and concern that many former and current staff hold for the welfare of the family as a whole. Stooks' reflections on the situation highlight a collective desire for peace and normalcy within the household. This sentiment is shared by millions of well-wishers who view the current estrangement as an unnecessary tragedy. Many believe it could be resolved with greater flexibility and empathy from all sides. However, the rigid nature of state bureaucracy and the deeply ingrained protocols governing royal security mean that personal feelings are often subordinated to the cold realities of legal frameworks and political considerations. This leaves little room for the kind of emotional compromise required to heal deep familial wounds. This clash between the personal and the institutional is a defining characteristic of the modern royal experience. It is a reality that Prince Harry has consistently challenged since his departure, yet continues to find himself ensnared by. He must navigate the complexities of his dual identity as both a private citizen and a royal prince. As the public continues to debate the merits of his case, the true cost of this ongoing conflict is measured not in financial terms or legal victories. Instead, it is measured in the lost opportunities for connection, understanding, and love between a father, his children, and their extended family across the sea. The upcoming weeks will serve as a critical test of whether the bonds of family can ultimately triumph over the constraints of protocol. Alternatively, observers wonder if the walls of security and suspicion will remain permanently erected, keeping the House of Sussex and the British monarchy forever divided. Furthermore, the role of international media cannot be overlooked in perpetuating this state of perpetual tension. Every statement, legal filing, and public appearance is instantly magnified and examined for hidden meanings. This constant scrutiny further complicates the delicate process of private reconciliation. The intense attention makes it virtually impossible for the family to engage in the quiet, unvarnished dialogue necessary to rebuild trust. Any attempt at communication is immediately transformed into a public spectacle. This environment of heightened awareness and constant judgment only reinforces Prince Harry's insistence on absolute security. He views the media apparatus not just as an intrusive nuisance, but as a tangible threat to his family's physical and psychological well-being. This perspective has been shaped by traumatic experiences of his past. Consequently, the battle over police protection is not merely about logistics or finances. It is a fundamental struggle for control over his own narrative and the safety of his loved ones in a world that refuses to grant them the privacy they so deeply desire. As the stalemate persists, the tragedy of a family divided by geography, protocol, and unresolved pain continues to play out on the global stage. This ongoing division serves as a sobering reminder of the heavy burdens that accompany the privilege of royal